Yo, what's up, my beautiful people? And thank you for tuning in to another Sistas review / House of Payne review. And for those who are specifically here to listen to House of Payne, make sure that you click in the description box to find out where that part of the review begins. So before I get into this review, I got to give a major shout out to KJ Smith, also known as Andy Barnes, on the hit TV show Sistas, for following your girl on IG and telling me that my reviews of the show are nice. I told her that made my day coming from her, but actually it made my entire year. And for those who know me and have been following me, I am not one to crave recognition, but it does feel amazing when a star of the show can appreciate what I do. So that really made me feel good. KJ, sis, if you're listening to this, I just want to tell you thank you, and your comment meant a lot to me. So we're about to get into this review. Y'all know how I do. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Now, this is Sistas Season 2, Episode 9, entitled When I Get Home. It almost made me think about Faith Evans Soon As I Get Home, because the way some of these situations was popping the other night, that's what I was thinking about. Okay, when y'all get home, it's gonna be some things happening. So the episode opens up with Gary and Andy arguing in the parking garage. Now, Gary seems like one of those people that you might have to take out, you might have to kill in order for him to leave you alone. Because it's obvious that he does not understand boundaries. It's obvious that he cannot read the room at all. Because after Andy told him she wasn't giving him the money back when she left the police department, I didn't think that there was anything to reconcile at that point. He was like, you haven't kissed me. You haven't given me a hug. You haven't even asked how I got out. I'm like, dude, she don't care. She don't care how you got out, but I know in the back of her mind, she's wondering, why are you out? So that scene baffled me. And the reason why it baffled me, because it is very obvious that Gary is abusive. And the fact that Andy has already experienced a previous abusive relationship, the fact that she was going back and forth with him, I'm thinking, sis, this man will put his hands on you, push come to shove. Like, there is nothing, I just couldn't understand the calmness with her after, experiencing an abusive relationship prior to this. He has all the characteristics of an abuser: manipulation, control, all of those things. Gary makes me think of the type of person that if I can't have you, no one else will. Those are the vibes that I really do get from Gary. So he ends up snatching Andy keys, telling her she's not going anywhere, continues to demand her to get into the car. So what really tripped me out about Gary is that Gary began to speak on things that he gave up to be with Andy. He told her, I gave up my wife, my kids, my life to be with you. And I'm like, okay, so when you come back down to reality, Gary, you'll realize that you never gave up any of those things. He's still married to Jasmine. He's still in his kid's life, even though we've never seen them. For the duration of the series, we have not seen these kids yet. But we do know that one of his children is autistic. I remember him using that as an excuse as to why he couldn't leave Jasmine. I honestly don't think Gary had any intention on leaving Jasmine. I really do believe that Gary deals with abandonment issues. And if you remember, in season 1, we find out that his mother died in a house fire. I can't remember if it was disclosed if he was a child, if he was an adult when this tragic event took place in his life. But I really feel that it has created some obsessive traits within him as far as not wanting to lose people who he's close to. Because Gary is homeboy ain't wrapped too tight. He's not well, and I just, there are some deep-rooted issues there that I don't know if Tyler will reveal it, but I think it's more than Gary. It's just crazy. Dude got some really deep, dark issues, and I really want to see them come to play. So, long story short, with this scene, Andy gets in her car. She leaves. So, before that, Hayden shows up. And Hayden is like, is everything? He know who Gary is, of course. So he's asking, is everything okay? Of course, Andy lies, tell him, yeah, everything is good, everything is good. And you can tell that Gary is agitated, brother over there shaking like a crackhead, like, this dude, get out my face. And so Hayden kept pushing until the point that Gary snapped on him. So at that point, Andy gets in her car. She leaves. As Gary tries to drive off, Hayden backs his car in so Gary can't go anywhere. I was like, Hayden came through in the clutch, my dude. I appreciate you. I'm glad you did that, but it didn't matter because Andy told Gary that she was going home. I'm like, to be so smart, man. Andy, just to be so damn smart, it baffles me how aloof she could be at times. So on her en route to her house, she calls Karen. Karen is in the shop on her last client, literally about to wash this lady's hair. Andy calls, she answers. Andy tells her a little bit about what happened. Karen tells her, I'm going to meet you at your house. Karen tells her assistant or whomever to, wash the lady's hair. And Karen basically shut deuces and left. So I really, really love. So Karen gets to Andy's house. I'm just going to finish out. I'm going to do it by character. So Karen gets to Andy's house. The conversation that transpired between those two, I really hope the viewers and the fans really absorbed the gems that Tyler wrote for this woman to speak. It's very rare, and it needs to happen more frequently, that in our friendships, we really set boundaries, especially when you know your friend is continuing to exhibit toxic behavior and continuing to put themselves in toxic situations, such as Andy. Just because she's a lawyer, just because she's intelligent, it does not mean that she can make decisions that are beneficial for her life. And I think that has been displayed ever since season 1. And so as Karen was speaking, Andy tried to use all different kind of excuses. I'm not as strong as you. I can't just poof someone out of my mind and my heart. And basically Karen was like, well, I'm not doing that either. And she was like, well, I still love him. And Karen said, well, I still love Zach. But at some point, this shit got to stop, and we have to want better for ourselves. And in doing better and wanting better, you're going to have to make some changes. So you're going to have to leave scared, leave with fear, but you got to want better for yourself. And so I really appreciated that. And she told Andy, because Andy was like, damn it, can I just get a minute? Karen says, I'm going to give you your minute, but I want you to know that your minute has lasted 6 months. Like, how long you going to do this, sis? If you decide to do this, I want you to know I'm not going to I'm not riding with you on this. I'm not doing this anymore. And I could really appreciate that, because at some point you have to look at your circle and realize who's draining you. Sometimes we get depressed, we get weighted down, and it's not even our own stuff. It's the stuff we allow people close to us to bring into our lives, bring into our psyche. And then we realize and we weighted down by their stuff, and it's not even ours. And we have to go through a healing process to rid ourselves of somebody else's trash. So I really appreciated that scene. I love that scene so much. And I really hope for those that may be in a situation like this, go back and watch that scene, because it was powerful. And there was some real gems dropped in the dialogue between Karen and Andy. And even with Andy, you look at the comments and Twitter and Facebook and everything like that, and so many people was calling this woman dumb and she's stupid and and I don't look at it that way. Not that I have experienced a physically abusive relationship, but I have been in a situation that lasted for years, and it's like, this thing isn't benefiting me anymore. But when you make a decision, or you have to make an ultimate decision to leave, sometimes there's such a fear there. It cripples it really cripples your heart, because you don't know what's beyond this thing that you know. And it's a fear, it's an uncertainty. But the thing with Andy is, I have some compassion for her, but what makes it very, very minute is because Andy knew from the jump that Gary was a married man with children, and that didn't stop her. So when she made the statement, why is it so hard to just love? Why can't it be easy? I was planning a life with this man. I'm like, baby girl, you can't plan a life with a married man. He already has a life. You can't do that. So it really goes to show just how emotionally stunted Andy is, and just how emotionally just immature she is as well, to think that you're actually about to have a fulfilling and purposeful life with a man who is married. But anyway, that was the last time we saw Andy that night. So I'm going to go to the sister who really just pissed me off for the 3rd week in a row. Sabrina. So Sabrina calls Danny to find out what she's wearing out that night, whatever. I didn't really care for that conversation because both of their energies was really, really low. But Danny made me very happy because she could tell Sabrina had something on her mind or something that she wanted to discuss. Danny said, hey, what is it? Because I don't have the energy to pull nothing out of you right now. And I'm like, thank you, Danny, because Sabrina, honestly, she's a sweet character, but she's like a grown ass child. She really irked me. So when Danny said something about, Maurice would know like more about Calvin than you do, it's like she had this epiphany or this aha moment to call Maurice. Maurice was still at the bank trying to get his stuff together because he don't want Jacoby outshining him. So basically, Sabrina suggested that he kind of manipulates Calvin in order to take a drug test for her because she wants to make sure that he really isn't using drugs. Instead of doing the most simplest thing like, asking him, she wants this man to take a drug test. And I'm like, Sabrina, are you serious right now, sis? You really? And then you got Maurice, who don't mind getting in the mess. So he, they trying to make it seem like, well, in order for you to stay with me, I have to make sure that you clean, got to make sure you're not into any extracurricular activities that could possibly, I guess, bring like some heat onto me. And I just felt really bad. Like, to be honest, I really felt bad for Calvin, even though he's not like my favorite character. The fact that Sabrina does this to him consistently, you question his sexuality, I understand to a certain degree. And then now the man tells you he wants to be exclusive with you. You tell him that you don't want to be in a relationship with him, that you're not ready for that. Instead of just telling him, hey, I was told that, someone stated that you do drugs. Is that true? That just seems so much easier and so much adultish and such a mature thing to do. But no, not Sabrina. They're not Sabrina. And that's all we saw of her that night, which I was happy because I couldn't take much more of Sabrina that night. She really touched the nerve. And I knew Maurice was going to do it. So let's deal with Hayden and Fatima. Now, Hayden made it seem like he went over to Fatima's house to discuss Andy. I think that had maybe like 5% of why he went over there, but the other 95% was to see her and probably see if he could get that again. So he comes in and she was like, you didn't call, like you don't just pop up over here. It ain't even like that. And so we find out that Hayden and Fatima have only had sex once. I don't know the backstory behind them as far as how deep their friendship go or their acquaintance go, but they had sex once. She didn't like it. So but they're friends. And so if I remember correctly, when she was trying to persuade him to take on this case or to help Andy, she said something like she gonna make it worth his while or she'll go out on dates. She did something for him to accept the responsibility of helping Andy. I just can't remember specifically what she offered him. And so, he basically told Fatima when it came to Andy, like, how well do you know her? And Fatima was like, not well, I'm getting to know her. And so I remember that Hayden was like, he didn't like Gary when he initially met him. And so he was like, she just need to be careful because the dude looked crazy and stuff like that, which he was not lying. And so he told Fatima that he wanted to marry her. He thought that she was the one. Fatima said, I'm the one for a lot of guys. I said, well, hey now, Fatima, all right, sis, I see you. But make a long story short, that scene, you could tell that he is more into Fatima than Fatima is into him. So Fatima. I made a post in one of the Facebook groups I said Karen got dragged for the same thing Fatima is getting praised for. So I'm gonna come back to that. Karen is getting dragged for the same things Fatima is getting praised for. So we gonna hit on that in a minute. So let's go to Danny and Preston. So when Danny arrived home, Preston was, standing outside of her door. He told her that he didn't go in, which I'm glad because it was disrespectful. I love that scene. It was too long. It was long as hell for me because it was really boring. But I did love to see Danny walls come down a little bit for her to really express herself emotionally because that's just not something that we see of Danny. And I thought it was very refreshing to see Danny function like that. But to just, continue that because it's something in me that still feel like Danny it's gonna be hard for her to maintain this. And when it got down to it, it was basically like, well, you weren't here. I had called you, you weren't here. I wanted someone to make me feel how you make me feel. I wanted someone to make me happy like you make me happy. And so the conversation between them was good. He asked her how many men she was sleeping with. I didn't like that. I hate that question. With the passion, I hate that question. That's none of your business. Your question, men, let men. Don't ask. And for women, hey, if you like it, cool. Just me personally, I don't like that question. It could be, okay, am I the only person that you are entertaining right now? Am I the only person that you're dating or seeing right now? But how many men? That's none of your business. That how many men, I have to give you a specific answer. I'm not doing that. Am I the only one? You either going to get a yes or a no. And if you're trying to make this exclusive, then we're going to talk about that. But I love, because me and my virtual friend, and I really do love engaging with him. I'm not going to say his name because I ain't asked him. But we had this back and forth. Normally we agree on just about everything. But the whole thing with Danny and Preston, he was like, they in a relationship. I was like, hell nah, they not in a relationship. They never even had a conversation about being exclusive. Now, I would agree that they are dating, but to say that Preston is Danny's man, no. And Danny proved it last night when she said, we are not together. I was like, yes, I win again. But no, not win again. But I just think that I thought that was a great lead way to a conversation. Don't ever assume that you're with someone. Don't ever assume. If you never had that conversation about where do we stand, where we are, don't assume you and dude or you and the girl in a relationship, because you get your feelings hurt real quick, especially if it's someone like me. We have to have a conversation. It is never to be assumed. But I did love how Tyler closed that thing and they got it in. He asked her, do you want me to make you dinner? She was like, no, I'm going out with the girls. So he was like, he'll make some dessert. When she get back, they went in there and got it in before she left to go out with the girls. So let's transition to Karen and Aaron. So because she had to make a pit stop to Andy, the time that she was supposed to be going out to the supermarket with Aaron, the times got all messed up, so on and so forth. So I loved Karen's dress. And so when Aaron came in, he was kind of looking like, yeah, it's good to see you, but aren't you like a little overdressed to go to the supermarket? And so she was, basically explaining to him that she was going to see the girls after they left the store. And he was like, oh, well, we could have just, rescheduled or whatever. And she was like, no, I wanted to see you. And he was like, you wanted to see me? Then he instantly was like, wait, is it bad news? And she was like, no, Aaron, what's wrong with you? Let me tell you something. I love Ebony Obsidian. She is my favorite. I love her because she's from New York. I don't know. This country accent is hilarious because if you've ever heard her speak in her real voice, she sounds nothing like Karen. Absolutely nothing. But I want to give Ebony Obsidian some major props because the way that she has portrayed Karen has been beautiful to me. I think that her journey, Karen's journey of maturity has been such an incredible thing to watch because looking at Karen first season and looking at Karen now, it looks like two completely different people in her mindset, in the way that she's speaking, like everything. And you could start seeing the change within her. I would say maybe about episode 13 of season 1. And it's just been beautiful. So, Ebony, if you happen to listen to this or come across this, I really give you big ups because you are playing the hell out of Karen. So, back to that. After she let him know it was nothing wrong, she asked did he know, First Lady Rachel. And so he was like, nah, I don't. She was like, oh, I just thought it was weird that she came. And he was like, why would that be strange? And she was like, because I never had a first lady in there before. So Aaron was like, well, maybe God is trying to tell you something. What you think God is trying to tell you, sis? She was like, nope, nope, we ain't finna go into that. And so he was like, like maybe we should be married or, and she was like, nah, bro, we ain't finna deal with that. And he was like, nah, I'm just messing with you. And she was like, nah, there's some truth in them jokes. I was like, sis, you got doggone right. It definitely be some truth in them jokes. And I think he's thinking along those lines. And the one thing, like I've stated before, that I appreciate about Aaron is that he's always been upfront. He stated the first time they went out to eat that he hates dating and he's more of a commitment guy. And so, make a long story short, she basically told him that it would be great if he was there when she got back. And she was like, yeah, I love to come home to. And I was like, what you love coming home to, sis? You love coming home to a man? You love coming home to him? Like, what is it? I was mad that they cut that part off, Tyler, but I appreciate it, bro. I can vibe with you on that. And so they shared like a little kiss or whatnot. And the funniest scene to me throughout this whole show was when Aaron was like, you need any money? And she cocked that head to the side as if she was so lost and confused. And she was like, what? And he was like, yeah, you need some money to go out. And she was like, no, I got it. Because we know broke ass Zach has never offered, has never given her money. I said that baby didn't know what to do. She just stood there bewildered and shook and confused because this man has offered to give her money to go out with her girls. So I love their scene. I thought it was cute, appropriate time frame for a scene. Got everything in it that needed to be gotten. I loved it. I enjoyed it. And so Aaron was like, I'm going to go get my bag. I'll be here when you come back. So I'm really looking forward to see, because I'm like, every time they just can't finish the deed. Everybody getting some. Everybody on this show getting some except Karen. It's her time. Her time has come. She needs to get her some. So that's going to be my slogan. The time has come. Karen need to get her some, because my God, that sis can't get nothing. Now, Fatima, earlier in the show, Fatima called Zach. Zach is at the house putting in the work for the real estate company. And he's acting really weird. Like the way he's talking to her is coming off very short, just all of that. So he ended the call with, all right, bro. And she was like, all right, bro, like that. So when Zach arrives back to Fatima's house, first of all, I don't even understand why his shirt was open, but his shirt was open. And I mean, I don't get that. But anyway, his shirt was open, and he walks in. He has an attitude. He's immature and he's insecure, asking her about, these men. And it was a lot. First of all, Fatima's not your woman. You and Fatima have only slept together. So to come in her house and ask her how many men she's sleeping with in this real estate program, what is she doing? I bet men just fall all over for you. Why you being nice to me? Why you want me here? Why you? And she was like, I let you out of my sight for a few hours, and now I got to come back and, basically reprogram what I done already did. And he was like, oh, so what you doing? And she was like, building you up. And he was like, oh, that's what you doing? And she was like, yeah. So, as I stated earlier, Karen got dragged for the same thing Fatima is getting praised for. And what I mean by that is, I call them the Zach hive, because they like the beehive. They just come out, they fly and fling out of nowhere. I have never seen a character get so many excuses for his behavior, or to get so many passes for his behavior. Now, we all know that this is a show, so we're not taking this stuff seriously, but it really does show the mindset of certain people. So, Zach, I literally saw someone write, the only reason why Zach acting like that is because he doesn't know what it's like for somebody to be nice to him, because he didn't experience that with Karen. And I'm like, no, you did not waste the flexibility of your thumbs to type this and then press send, sis. Are you serious right now? Karen over here living her best life. She not worried about Zach at all. And yet somehow him acting an ass to Fatima is Karen's fault. I'm like, man, y'all got to get out of here. Y'all have to get out of here. If Karen would have told Zach, I'll let you out of my sight for a few hours and I got to come and reprogram you, they would have called her so many things. But because it's Fatima, I like Fatima, it gets, oh, no, she good. Let her say what she got to say. So it was baffling to me. It was really baffling to me. I like Fatima. I like that Fatima is straightforward. I like that Fatima is on her stuff. Someone else said that Fatima should have told Zach what was up from the beginning. If she didn't want a relationship, she should have said that. And I'm like, what y'all females, what these type of women exist? It was the one they had sex. They know nothing about each other. Literally nothing other than they like having sex with each other. There is no foundation, no base, no nothing. So what was she supposed to tell him? I don't understand it. I don't understand what, like, these comments be flooring me. I read them, to get material to kind of bring to the show, but it's crazy to me. It's really crazy to me. So going to, and Fatima said his ass straight. Basically, I don't care what you do, bro, nigga, whatever. If you hear, you hear. You not, you not. I really don't care. So Maurice and Calvin. What grown man is gonna piss in a cup in the lobby of a bank? In my mind, I'm like, I have straight friends. One of my friends, his best friend is gay. Their relationship is so beautiful to me. He's the godfather of one of his children. Their relationship is beautiful to me. When I look at Maurice and Calvin, Maurice try the hell out of Calvin. And it baffles me that Calvin goes along with the foolishness. How the hell did you allow Maurice to talk you into pissing in a cup in the lobby of a bank? Anybody could have came in there. The supervisor could have came back. So anybody, and the fact that he did that, I was floored and blowed that Calvin did what he did. But the brother did it. I'm like, baby, you must really need to live with Maurice to do this. So that was pretty much that scene. I think that was everything. I really enjoy. I think Wednesday night's episode, When I Get Home, was a great show. I thoroughly enjoyed it from the start of it to the end. I thought it was really good. To close it out, someone asked me about, because I always say how, this is a soap opera, and it is. The way that it is described as a nighttime soap opera. I think and this is not to be critical or anything, but you get a lot of people stating how, man, this show just gets me, it makes me mad because these things so long and this storyline getting dragged out. We used to, watching Young and the Restless and, all that stuff like that. These are weekly soap operas. I think one of the downfalls of having they are a weekday soap opera. So they come on Monday through Friday. We get them. When you get a TV show that's written like a soap opera and it only comes on once a week, it's horrible because you can literally go through a month and only 2 days have passed. So it's like, but the show is so connecting and the show is so wonderful, that I think we can see past it. At least I can, even though it does get on my nerves at times. I just want to give a shout out to the whole cast. Like, I'm not big on TV. I don't watch a lot of shows. So when I get connected to a show, I'm like really all in. And Sistas is one of those shows that I'm really just all into because the storylines, dealing with our emotions just as women going through life, and men too, going through life trying to see, is this the right fit for me? Is this the right person for me? Is this the correct profession I'm supposed to be in? Everybody telling me I'm supposed to go left, but I really feel like I'm supposed to go right. And how do I, maneuver through this? So I really enjoy it. I really, really do. So I want to thank you guys for watching with me and just being supportive and everything like that. And I'm going to do some more stuff centered around Sistas. And make sure you follow me. Click the link. Click in the description box. And there's some stuff in there. You can find my books there. You can, find my website and other things like that. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Sistas part of the review. Now I'm about to transition into House of Payne. Honestly speaking, this was probably my most favorite episode this season. That's not saying a lot, but it's saying a lot. It was I really love China McClain's portrayal of Jasmine, and the topic that they hit on, was very it was personal. I could connect to it. And I think at some point, almost every girl has been, I'm not going to say pressured, but the heat has been turned up on when we going to have sex. When we going to have sex. I remember when I was younger, there was this one guy who we called ourselves being boyfriend and girlfriend, and he asked me about 10 times a day, when we going to have sex? When you going to let me do this? When you going to let me do that? And I'm looking at him like, dude, never. You never getting this. Never. You're never getting it. And with Jasmine and Caleb, he claims he loves her and, he wants them to be closer. He's ready to have sex. The thing that irritated me is that he was just so persistent. He was so persistent in wanting to have sex with Jasmine. And I'm probably going to piss some people off with this, but no one should be pressured into having sex at all, because if you're not ready, you're just not ready for whatever your reasoning may be. It could be religious reasons. It could be your own personal decision. You might want to wait till you marry, or you just may feel like this ain't the right person, or I don't feel comfortable enough with them to give my body to them. But once that, and it is a very, very beautiful thing once you do find someone who you do want to share that part of your body with or your life with. Sex is a beautiful thing. I'm not finna sit here and, bash it at all. It's wonderful. It's amazing, and especially when you love someone and you're sharing that with. It's a very powerful thing. It really is. It's very powerful. But I was like, Lord, I'm glad I'm glad I wasn't created as a man, because I probably would pressure somebody like, hey man, when we gonna do this? Especially when you've encountered sex and you've experienced sex and you understand the wonderfulness of sex. But not in a disrespectful way, but just like, hey, when are you ready, or what's holding you back? And I think that when you're in a relationship with someone and you're not ready, I feel you should be able to explain to them why you're not ready. Not, I'm just not ready. Deal with it. I think sometimes as women too, it is our cookie. It is our pot of gold. However, at the same time, when you're with someone and they want to go to that next level, I do feel like there should be a conversation, not just, us just going off on them. But with Jasmine and Caleb, I don't know. I love their dynamic. I think they make a cute couple. It was just, the whole episode was just about him, pressuring her to have sex. He popping up at her house. He popped up at Curtis and Ella's house because he knew they wouldn't be there. But lo and behold, Calvin is there because Calvin was, he had to be there for this package that Curtis had coming. And so he got Jasmine to do it. Of course, he had to pay her to do it. So homeboy comes over thinking he gonna get it in there. And then he tries to go into Curtis and Ella's room. And I'm like, of all, you trying to have sex in there? Hell, ain't many places they can have sex in, but that's the wrong place. I don't really have a lot with this episode. I think that I just enjoyed it more than the others. The content quality is pretty much still the same. That was the whole premise of the episode, basically, him letting her know. And then the manipulation, and that's the part I don't like. When someone, if you love me, you'll do it. Or if you love me, you'll at least think about it. Or come to my house, we can watch TV, whatever. We just gonna kiss. We ain't gonna do nothing. Man, y'all be lying. Y'all be lying. Yeah, we just gonna kiss. We ain't gonna do nothing. Man, I do appreciate Jasmine having a standard in her life. But I also don't like the message either that if you do decide to have sex, you foul, you nasty, you a hoe. Because that's not true either. Everyone has, a vision for their life. Me, I never set out to be a virgin when I got married. It wasn't a thing. I knew me enough to know that there were going to be people in my life who I experienced before I got married. And that was just not a thing for me. For some people, it is. For some people, it really is. I knew this girl in college. She was a virgin. And she was, and at the time of my life, I was living very reckless and very wild. So to hear this girl talk about being a virgin and she happy with it, and I'm like, well, hell, what do? You ain't having sex. Like, what else is there? But that was college mentality, Alicia. Like, what you doing, sis? Like, what? I couldn't fathom it. I really couldn't fathom it. However, big ups to Jasmine for, maintaining her will to be strong. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. It ain't like it was a lot to discuss. Just her remaining firm in her belief, firm in her decision, and I can really respect that, and I do like that. So this is the end of the House of Payne review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you click the description box to check out my blog, my books, anything else, to follow me on social media. All that stuff is in the description box. Because people ask me the same question, I do forget to mention all those links are there. So I hope you guys have a great and prosperous weekend, and y'all be safe out there with this COVID. Make sure that as we come up to the holiday season of Christmas, those who celebrate it, make sure that you're being safe with your family and your plans and things of that nature. And I will holler at y'all later. When?